Across the vast expanse of time, mythologies have forged the world. From the depths of chaos to the flames of distant realms, every culture has woven tales of gods, heroes, and celestial wonders. Welcome to Myth, your mythological portal. Subscribe for more epic journeys. Visit myth and discover all our products. A cosmic war erupted from the shadows of rebellion, shaking the universe to its core. The Titanomachy, a clash of gods, forged a new divine order through fire and fury. Zeus, blazing with purpose, leads his siblings, Hestia, Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Hades, against Cronus, whose iron rule threatens all existence. On Mount Othrys, the Titans tower, their ancient power cloaked in primal mists. Yet Zeus, guided by destiny, seeks the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, whose might could shift fate itself. This is no mere battle. It's a celestial upheaval where heavens roar and earth quakes. The stakes, nothing less than the cosmos' future, with Zeus as its bold architect. Zeus stood atop Mount Olympus, his eyes locked on the stormy horizon, where dark clouds swirled with menace. His siblings, Hestia, Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Hades, rallied behind him, their shared resolve a fiery challenge to the Titans' rule. On Mount Othrys, the Titans loomed, their massive forms veiled in ancient mists. Cronus, clutching his gleaming sickle, exuded unyielding authority, flanked by Oceanus, whose waters churned below, Hyperion, radiating solar fire, and Iapetus, a shadow of treachery. The air hummed with divine tension, the heavens quaking as war loomed. Zeus, fierce with determination, knew his divine strength alone wouldn't suffice against such primal power. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, locked in Tartarus's depths, held the key to victory. His journey to the underworld was near, a daring quest to forge an alliance that could reshape fate. This was no mere conflict. It was a battle to redefine the cosmos, with Zeus ready to challenge the ancient gods and claim his destiny. Zeus plunged into Tartarus's dark abyss, where light vanished and the air grew thick with the cries of captive souls. The path twisted through jagged stone and rivers of shadow. There, the Cyclopes, Brontes, Steropes, and Arges slaved in chains, their single eyes glowing like embers, crafting weapons under Cronus's harsh rule. Nearby, the Hecatoncheires, Cottus, Briareus, and Gyges seethed with rage, their 100 arms bound, their 50 heads roaring for freedom. Zeus, aglow with divine resolve, faced them, his voice echoing through the cavern. He offered liberty for loyalty, vowing a new era under his reign. The Cyclopes, stirred by his courage, pledged thunderbolts to topple Cronus. The Hecatoncheires, their fury unleashed, swore to hurl mountains. This pact, forged in Tartarus's gloom, changed the war's course, uniting primal forces with Zeus's cause. As he ascended, hope lit the path, the cosmos bracing for a battle to reshape eternity. Deep in Tartarus's fiery caverns, the Cyclopes worked with relentless focus, their forges blazing with ancient flames. Brontes, Steropes, and Arges, freed by Zeus, shaped thunderbolts that pulsed with divine might. Each hammer strike sent sparks soaring, the molten metal forming weapons to shatter mountains and challenge the heavens. Zeus stood watch, his vision of triumph taking form. The Cyclops' skill, perfected over ages, crafted tools to end Cronus's reign. Nearby, the Hecatoncheires gathered boulders, their 100 arms a whirlwind of strength readying for war. These thunderbolts, more than weapons, were symbols of Zeus's rising power, a promise of a new order. Above, the Olympians felt the surge of hope, their resolve hardening for the coming battle. The caverns roared with the fire of creation, each bolt a spark of destiny. The Titanomachy drew near, its roots in this crucible of divine craftsmanship, where Zeus's dream of a reborn cosmos began to take shape. On Mount Olympus's peak, Zeus gathered his siblings to forge a plan for war. Hestia's hearth cast a warm glow, steadying their hearts, while Hera's keen eyes demanded precision. Demeter spoke of the earth's resilience, Poseidon of the sea's wrath, and Hades of the underworld's cunning. United in purpose, they stood ready to face the Titans. Zeus unveiled the Cyclopes' thunderbolts and the Hecatoncheires' strength, mapping a battle across earth and sky. He tasked Poseidon with summoning storms, Hades with weaving shadows, and Hera with fueling courage. The Olympians, young but fierce, formed a force to rival the Titans' ancient might. Far below, Cronus rallied Oceanus, Hyperion, and Iapetus on Mount Othrys, unaware of Zeus's allies. The council's resolve hardened, the heavens stirring as Zeus spoke of victory. This gathering marked the Olympians' rise, their unity aflame to light the cosmos, ready to challenge the old gods and claim their place. The Titanomachy ignited on the plains below Mount Othrys, where earth and sky collided in chaos. Zeus led the charge, his thunderbolts blazing through the heavens. Poseidon's trident called forth crashing waves, battling Oceanus's torrents, while Hades' shadows hid their advance. The Titans under Cronus' command struck back. Hyperion's flames scorched the ground, and Iapetus hurled massive stones. The Cyclopes' thunderbolts shook the earth, matched by the Hecatoncheires mountains, flung with relentless force. The clash was earth-shattering, the cosmos trembling as divine powers met. The Olympians, bound by shared purpose, held strong against the Titans' ancient strength. Cronus' forces wavered, their ranks thrown into disarray by the Hecatoncheires' might. The land lay scarred, bearing the weight of divine fury as the Olympians pressed forward. This first battle marked a shift, Zeus's allies turning the tide, their unity forging a path to victory, in a war that would reshape the universe forever. Cronus stood tall on Mount Othrys, his sickle flashing with menace, a symbol of his triumph over Uranus. His gaze burned with eons of power, unbowed by Zeus's advance. He rallied the Titans, calling Oceanus to flood the plains, Hyperion to sear with solar fire, and Iapetus to crush with stone. His voice boomed, claiming his right to rule forever. But Zeus's thunderbolts roared back, each strike chipping away at the Titans' strength. The Hecatoncheires mountains forced them back, their ranks breaking. Cronus' pride clashed with Zeus's rising might, the earth shaking as their forces met. The Olympians, united, pushed forward, their resolve outshining the Titans' faltering unity. The battlefield pulsed with divine wrath, Cronus' stand a desperate bid to hold his throne. Yet the tide was turning, Zeus's allies overwhelming the old gods, their defiance waning as the Olympians' strength grew, signaling a new dawn for the cosmos. Poseidon unleashed a mighty tempest, his trident summoning waves that crashed against the Titans' defenses. Oceanus fought back, his rivers surging to drown the Olympians, but Poseidon's seas roared louder, pushing the floods aside. The clash churned the plains into a swirling maelstrom, the earth trembling beneath. Zeus's thunderbolts lit the storm, guiding Poseidon's strikes, while the Hecatoncheires boulders broke Oceanus's advance. Poseidon's power, fierce and unyielding, marked him as a cornerstone of Zeus's cause. The Titans wavered, their unity fraying as Oceanus's waters retreated. Cronus, watching from above, saw his ally falter, his grip on power slipping. The battlefield, soaked and scarred, bore the marks of divine struggle, yet the Olympians stood firm, their resolve unbroken. This tempest turned the war's tide, Poseidon's strength driving the Olympians forward, their path to victory clear as the Titans' ancient rule began to crumble under the weight of the storm. Hades moved like a whisper across the battlefield, his dark cloak hiding him from sight. Using the underworld's secrets, he cast shadows to shield the Olympians, throwing the Titans' attacks into chaos. Iapetus, fierce with mortal strength, struck with earth-shaking force, but Hades' cunning outwitted him, guiding his siblings through the fray. Zeus's thunderbolts cut through the gloom, lighting Hades' path, while the Hecatoncheires boulders pounded the Titans. Hades' mastery of shadow turned the battle's tide. sowing doubt in the Titans' ranks. The air grew heavy, Cronus's forces faltering as they swung at unseen foes. The Olympians, bolstered by Hades' skill, pressed on, their unity a sharp contrast to the Titans' confusion. The scarred earth trembled, bearing witness to Hades' vital role. This shadowed assault marked a turning point, the Olympians gaining ground as the Titans' ancient power waned, their defeat looming closer with every step Zeus's forces took. Hera stood radiant among the Olympians, her presence a spark of courage. Her sharp words rallied her siblings, urging them to seize their destiny against the Titans' might. She spoke of a new cosmos, her voice bold with prophecy, lifting their spirits. As Zeus's thunderbolts flashed, Hera drove the Olympians forward, their unity a blazing force. The Titans, led by Cronus, stumbled, their ranks shaken by the Hecatoncheires' onslaught. Hera's fierce gaze met Rhea's faltering pleas, her mother's influence fading. Hera's leadership shone, her call to fight fueling the Olympians' hearts. The battlefield pulsed with divine energy, the Olympians' strength growing as Hera's words echoed. Cronus's forces divided began to break, their stand weakening. This moment of inspiration marked a shift, Hera's resolve binding the Olympians tighter, their advance unstoppable as the Titans' reign faltered, the cosmos edging closer to a new order under Zeus's command. The Hecatoncheires, Cottus, Briareus, and Gyges, unleashed a storm of power, their 100 arms hurling mountains that smashed the Titans' lines. Each strike tore through their defenses, scattering Cronus's forces. Their 50 heads roared, shaking the earth, their rage born of ages in chains. Zeus's thunderbolts joined the assault, amplifying the chaos while the Olympians surged forward. Cronus tried to rally Oceanus and Hyperion, but the Hecatoncheires' might was unstoppable, their boulders crushing resistance. The Titans' unity frayed, their ancient strength no match for this primal fury. The battlefield became a ruin of shattered peaks, the Olympians gaining ground with every blow. Cronus's stand weakened, his forces crumbling under the weight of the Hecatoncheires' wrath. This moment marked a decisive turn, the Olympians' allies overwhelming the Titans, their defeat looming as Zeus's vision of a new cosmos grew clearer, the war's end drawing near with each mountain hurled. Hyperion, the Titan of light, unleashed a searing blaze, his solar flames threatening to consume the Olympians. The battlefield glowed with heat, forcing Zeus's forces to falter, but Zeus struck back, his thunderbolts cutting through the fire, their light rivaling Hyperion's own. Poseidon's waves doused the flames, while Hades' shadows dimmed their glare, letting the Olympians advance. The Hecatoncheires' boulders pounded Hyperion's defenses, their strength relentless. Hyperion fought fiercely, his power rooted in the sun's ancient fire, but the Olympians' unity held strong. Cronus, watching from Mount Othrys, saw his allies' light fade, his own resolve shaken. The earth trembled, scarred by divine struggle, as the Olympians pushed forward. Hyperion's wrath, though mighty, began to wane, a sign of the Titans' decline. This clash marked a turning point, Zeus's forces gaining the upper hand, their path to victory brightening, as the Titans' ancient reign crumbled under the weight of their combined might. Oceanus, the Titan of rivers, summoned a mighty flood, its waters surging to sweep the Olympians away. The plains became a churning sea, threatening to drown Zeus's forces. Poseidon stood firm, his trident calling forth waves to meet Oceanus's torrents, their clash shaking the earth. Zeus's thunderbolts flashed, guiding his siblings, while the Hecatoncheires' boulders blocked the flood's path. Hades' shadows hid their strikes, outwitting Oceanus's defenses. Poseidon's strength, fierce and unyielding, matched the Titans' vast power, carving a way forward. The Olympians, united, pushed through the deluge, their resolve unbroken. Cronus, from Mount Othrys, watched Oceanus falter, his forces weakening. The battlefield, soaked and scarred, bore the marks of their struggle, yet the Olympians gained ground. This clash of waters marked a shift, Poseidon's might turning the tide, the Titans' ancient rule slipping as Zeus's forces advanced, their victory drawing closer with every wave that crashed. Iapetus, the titan of mortality, struck with brutal force, hurling stones that shook the earth. His wrath aimed to crush the Olympians' advance, each blow a testament to his ancient power. Zeus answered with thunderbolts, their light piercing Iapetus's onslaught, while the Hecatoncheires countered with mountains, their strength relentless. Hades' shadows shielded the Olympians, letting them dodge Iapetus's strikes, and Poseidon's waves softened the blows. Hera's rallying cry kept their spirits high, urging them forward. Iapetus, towering and fierce, fought on, but the Olympians' unity began to overwhelm him. Cronus, from Mount Othrys, saw his ally weaken, the Titans' ranks thinning. The battlefield groaned under the clash, scarred by divine fury, yet the Olympians pressed on. Iapetus's assault, though mighty, faltered, a sign of the Titans' decline. This moment marked a shift, Zeus's forces gaining ground, their victory growing closer as the Titans' ancient strength crumbled under the Olympians' relentless advance. Rhea, mother to the Olympians, stood on Mount Othrys, her heart heavy with conflict. Once the force behind Cronus's rise, she now saw his tyranny's cost. She begged Cronus to seek peace, her voice trembling with grief, urging him to yield to Zeus's growing power. Cronus, unyielding, turned away, his sickle gleaming with defiance. The Olympians, led by Zeus, pressed their attack, thunderbolts and Hecatoncheires boulders breaking the Titans' lines. Hera, stirred by her mother's pain, rallied her siblings, her resolve fierce. Rhea's plea, though heartfelt, couldn't sway Cronus, his pride blinding him to defeat. The battlefield roared, the Olympians' unity overpowering the Titans' faltering ranks. Rhea's sorrow, a symbol of the war's toll, deepened the stakes as Zeus's forces advanced. The cosmos shook, the Titans' reign slipping as Rhea's unanswered call marked a turning point, the Olympians' victory drawing near in the face of Cronus's stubborn stand. Zeus led the Olympians with fierce resolve, his thunderbolts blazing across Mount Othrys. Poseidon's waves surged, pushing back Oceanus's floods, while Hades' shadows hid their strikes, sowing chaos among the Titans. Hera's bold words fueled their courage, and Demeter's earthy strength steadied their path. The Hecatoncheires mountains and the Cyclopes bolts shattered the Titans' defenses, their ranks crumbling. Cronus, flanked by Hyperion and Iapetus, struggled to hold his ground, his forces breaking apart. The battlefield, scarred by divine wrath, trembled as the Olympians closed in, their unity a stark contrast to the Titans' disarray. The earth bore the weight of their struggle, yet Zeus's forces stood unbroken, their momentum unstoppable. This advance marked a decisive moment, the Olympians nearing Mount Othrys' peak, their victory within sight. The cosmos watched, its future tied to Zeus's rising power, as the Titans' ancient rule faltered, giving way to a new divine order. Cronus rallied the Titans for a desperate stand, his sickle raised high. Oceanus unleashed a flood, Hyperion's flames scorched the earth, and Iapetus hurled stones with fury, aiming to stop the Olympians. The Titans, briefly united, struck with ancient might. Zeus answered with thunderbolts, their light cutting through the chaos, while Poseidon's waves battled Oceanus's torrents. The Hecatoncheires mountains smashed the Titans' lines, and Hades' shadows hid the Olympians' strikes. Hera's voice kept their spirits high, urging them on. The battlefield shook, divine forces clashing with earth-shattering force. Yet the Titans' stand faltered, their ranks breaking under Zeus's relentless allies. Cronus's defiance, fierce but fading, couldn't hold back the tide. The Olympians pressed forward, their unity overpowering the Titans' weakening resolve. This counterstrike, though bold, marked the Titans' decline, their ancient power crumbling as Zeus's forces advanced, the war's end nearing with every blow struck against Mount Othrys. Demeter stood firm, her connection to the earth a steady force for the Olympians. Her power raised barriers of soil against Oceanus's floods, slowing their surge. With hands glowing with earthy light, she turned Iapetus's stones into fields of rock, blunting his assault. Zeus's thunderbolts lit her path, while the Hecatoncheires mountains bolstered her defenses. Hades' shadows hid her strikes, and Hera's words fueled her resolve. Cronus, watching from Mount Othrys, saw his forces falter as Demeter's strength reshaped the battlefield. The Titans' attacks weakened, their unity fraying against her unyielding might. The scarred earth trembled, bearing witness to Demeter's vital role, her power anchoring the Olympians' advance. The cosmos felt the shift, the Titans' reign slipping as Demeter's resolve held strong, pushing Zeus's forces forward. This moment marked a turning point, the Olympians' victory growing closer as the Titans' ancient power crumbled under the weight of Demeter's earthy strength. The Cyclopes, Brontes, Steropes, and Arges, unleashed thunderbolts that lit the sky, their craftsmanship turning the battle's tide. Each bolt, born in Tartarus's flames, shattered the Titans' defenses with divine might. Zeus wielded them with precision, guiding the Olympians forward. Poseidon's waves and Hades' shadows added to the chaos, while the Hecatoncheires' boulders pounded Cronus's ranks. Hyperion's flames faded, and Oceanus' floods weakened under the bolt's power. The Cyclopes, their focus unbreakable, stood as pillars of Zeus's cause, their thunderbolts a sign of a new order. Cronus, from Mount Othrys, struggled to hold his forces, their resolve breaking. The battlefield, scarred by divine wrath, shook as the Olympians advanced. The Cyclopes' bolts marked a decisive moment, their power overwhelming the Titans' ancient strength, pushing Zeus's forces closer to victory. The cosmos trembled, the war's end nearing as the Titans' reign faltered, giving way to Zeus's rising power and the dawn of a new era. The Titans, battered by Zeus's relentless assault, fled Mount Othrys, their power broken. Cronus, sickle in hand, struggled to rally them, but his voice was lost in the thunderbolt's roar. Oceanus' floods retreated, Hyperion's flames dimmed, and Iapetus' stones fell short. The Olympians, united, pressed forward, Poseidon's waves and Hades' shadows outwitting the Titans. Hera's courage and Demeter's strength drove their advance, while the Hecatoncheires' boulders crushed resistance. The battlefield, scarred by divine fury, shook as the Titans scattered, their unity gone. Cronus' forces, once mighty, broke apart, their retreat a sign of defeat. The Olympians closed in, their momentum unstoppable, Mount Othrys within reach. The cosmos trembled, the earth bearing the war's scars as Zeus's allies overwhelmed the Titans. This retreat marked the war's turning point, the Titans' ancient reign crumbling, their fall paving the way for Zeus's new order, a cosmos reborn under Olympian rule. Zeus led a final charge, his thunderbolts blazing, shattering the Titans' last stand on Mount Othrys. The Cyclopes' bolts and Hecatoncheires' mountains overwhelmed the defenses, leaving Cronus exposed. Poseidon's waves swept away Oceanus' floods, and Hades' shadows outwitted Hyperion and Iapetus. Hera's voice rallied the Olympians, Demeter's strength grounding their advance. Cronus, sickle raised, faced Zeus alone, his forces broken. The battlefield shook, scarred by divine wrath, as Zeus's power proved unmatched. The Olympians claimed Mount Othrys, the Titans' stronghold now theirs. Cronus' reign ended, his defeat sealing Zeus's victory. The cosmos roared, its future forged in this moment of triumph. The Olympians stood united, their strength a testament to Zeus's leadership. This victory marked the Titanomachy's end, Zeus rising as the cosmos' new ruler, his vision of a divine order taking shape, the Titans' fall a stepping stone to a new era of Olympian rule. Cronus, once the cosmos' ruler, stood alone on Mount Othrys, his sickle faltering. Zeus faced him, thunderbolts blazing, his resolve unshaken. The Titans, scattered, could no longer aid their leader. Oceanus' floods gone, Hyperion's flames dim, Iapetus' strength broken. The Hecatoncheires' boulders and Cyclopes' bolts had crushed their defenses. Hera, Poseidon, Hades, and Demeter stood behind Zeus, their unity unbreakable. Cronus, driven by pride, swung his sickle one last time, but Zeus's thunderbolt struck, forcing him to his knees. The earth shook, the cosmos bearing witness as Cronus fell. His rule ended. This moment sealed the Titanomachy's outcome, Zeus's victory complete. The Olympians stood tall, their strength forging a new path. The battlefield, scarred but still, marked the end of an era. Cronus's defeat, a symbol of change, opened the way for Zeus's reign. The cosmos ready for a new order under the Olympians' united rule, their triumph a beacon for eternity. With Cronus defeated, Zeus turned to the remaining Titans, their strength shattered. Oceanus, Hyperion and Iapetus, broken by the Olympians, faced the Hecatoncheires' wrath. Zeus ordered their exile to Tartarus, the dark abyss where his allies once languished. The Hecatoncheires, Cottus, Briareus and Gyges, bound them in chains, their 100 arms sealing their fate. Poseidon's waves guarded the path, Hades' shadows ensuring no escape. Hera and Demeter watched, their resolve firm. The Titans, once lords of the cosmos, vanished into the depths their era ended. The earth trembled as Tartarus's gates shut, locking them away. Zeus's command solidified his rule, the Olympians' victory complete. The battlefield grew still, its scars a reminder of the war. This act of imprisonment marked the Titans' final fall, their ancient power gone as Zeus's new order rose, the cosmos reshaping under the Olympians' reign, their unity a promise of a brighter future. The Olympians stood victorious on Mount Othrys, the Titans' stronghold now theirs. Zeus, thunderbolts still aglow, gazed over the scarred battlefield. His siblings, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia, united at his side. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, their work done, stood as allies, their strength key to triumph. The cosmos, once bound by Cronus's rule, now answered to Zeus, his leadership forging a new path. The earth, battered but enduring, grew still, its wounds a testament to the war's cost. The Olympians' rise marked a new dawn, their unity a light for the universe. Zeus, supreme, prepared to shape his reign, his siblings ready to rule beside him. The Titanomachy's end reshaped existence, the Olympians' victory a symbol of their power. The cosmos, alive with possibility, embraced this new order. The Titans' fall a distant echo as Zeus's reign began, its promise of harmony set to endure through the ages. Zeus stood supreme on Mount Olympus, the cosmos bowing to his will. The Titanomachy's end ushered in a new era. The Olympians, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia, rising as its guardians. Each claimed their domain, sky, sea, underworld, earth, and hearth, their unity forged in battle. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, their roles complete, faded to their realms, their alliance enduring. The battlefield, scarred by war, began to heal, the earth's tremors fading. Cronus and the Titans locked in Tartarus were shadows of their past. Zeus's reign, born in struggle, promised order and balance. The Olympians, tested by fire, stood as one, their strength shaping the cosmos. This new order, built from the Titans' ruins, sparked a divine harmony, its light set to shine through eternity. The universe reborn, pulsed with hope, Zeus's vision guiding its future, the Olympians' rule a legacy to echo across the ages. The Titanomachy, a war that shook the stars, ended with Zeus's victory, birthing a new divine order. Cronus, once the cosmos's king, lies chained in Tartarus, his sickle powerless against Zeus's thunderbolts. The Olympians, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia, stand united, their realms set, their unity a light for the ages. The Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, heroes of the war, return to their domains, their legacy tied to Zeus's triumph. The earth, scarred by divine fury, heals, its silence a promise of peace. Zeus, now supreme, has reshaped the cosmos, his reign a beacon of hope. But new challenges loom for the Olympians. Subscribe for more epic journeys. Visit myth2myth.com and discover all our products.